I know it's been like a few months since I last talked to you guys on here, but it's been pretty busy. I say that a lot, but seriously, this time it was a lot busier than usual. Like today I'm gonna catch you guys up and also talk about a few things, but I listed them down for both our sakes because I'm pretty forgetful. We'll be talking about the collab, content, future plans, goals next year, and then just, you know, sum it up with some sentiment. If you've been following along in the last like fucking year, no, I think it's probably like since summer, you know that I've been closely working with Skairic a lot. It started off with like a random interaction and it turned into this collab that was probably the best drop we've ever had and the best month we've ever had. I can't say that for sure because I didn't check the stats, but I know for sure it's the best month we've had out here. So that felt nice. I can spend a whole video talking about the collab, which I probably will because there's a lot to unpack from it and a lot that I want to let people know about. Once we decided we were going to do a collab drop, we had to figure out what we were going to do. And initially it was just going to be something small where the keychains come from. The funny thing about that is like the final design and the approval or something to actually go through and make them didn't come till like a month before the shirts were going to be out. The keychains were planned at first, but they were kind of a last minute surprise for not just the audience, but me and Skairic too. Because after we decided we would go from like the keychain to apparel, we were really excited to just make something together. It was going to be the first collab that went through with Ghostn because there's at least 3 other collabs that I was working on before this. They were all like in Guam with other Guam businesses and people, but those fell through for different reasons. And you know, like no bad blood between me and any of the people that we were supposed to collab with. Like a lot of those things had a reasonable ending. I guess it just wasn't the time. Anyways, it was super exciting to be able to actually work on this and have it come out. So after that, we decided let's make a shirt. It's kind of like when you have a blank canvas. It's so fucking hard. The possibilities are endless. I wanted the collab to kind of represent us equally and show off like Skairic stuff, Skairic style, and just Skairic in general. Because, you know, even though she does have like the bigger following, the way I see collabs for Ghostn, well, at least for like Ghostn and other small businesses or artists, it'd be different if it was a larger corporation or brand. But like when I do a collab with them, the way I see it is I want to use Ghostn as a way to kind of be their support, have the light shine on them easier. Like I want Ghostn to be their canvas with a bit of guidelines, you know, and all that, and like the aesthetic. Everyone already knows Skairic makes great fucking art. And I'm like, let's put that on a shirt. We ended up making the theme the reason we ended up talking in the first place. Ominous positivity. That's kind of been the vibe I've always been going for with Ghostn, with like mental health and the dark aesthetic. I used to just say dark positivity because it's like not the usual cookie cutter bullshit, and it's more of like a reality check, but like harsh optimism, you know what I mean? When I came across her reel for like ominous positivity and stuff, I was like, this is perfect. Like it captures everything that I wanted to put into Ghostn and the brand itself. And on top of that, like the art and animation was just really eye-catching. At the time, our accounts were smaller than they are now. Skairic still had a larger following than I did. I think at the time I was like around 1,000, and she already had definitely more than 15,000 at the time, and she's like at 100 something now. So I was like, this probably has a small chance of working, but something is telling me to shoot my shot here. And I'm so glad I did. And you know, the rest is history, right? And if you followed along on the collab series, I'm just gonna put on the screen like a brief summary of each episode, and it basically just entails the journey for the most part. It just doesn't really talk about production for the media and stuff, and also thought process. It touches on it briefly, but I'll be talking about those in depth on a separate collab video. This was the first time I was implementing the new way to drop content, like new for me at least, because I was kind of doing it wrong. Common trend with this brand, I'd be doing shit wrong and then fixing them later. But you know, that's creative and entrepreneurial spirit, right? Just fucking fail, refine it, and do it again. Or I would just do drops and it'd be like, I'd have it already made and everything like that. It's ready to go. Oh, here's a post like probably a week before or something, or even like a day before, but like, oh, here's the drop. Check it out, get hyped, buy it, and then be surprised when no one gives a fuck. It gets like low sales. And I'm like, why? And then, you know, I figured it's, people keep saying nice things about the products, especially when they buy them. Like, we have a niche, and like the people that we serve in those niche say nice things. To me, it wasn't like an issue with the products themselves, like the designs or anything like that. So that left me thinking, it must be like the promoting and the marketing, right? And when we were done like drafting up designs for the shirt, sometimes the algorithm kind of fucking is like a conduit for divine intervention or something, because I was scrolling reels and then I came across like this one that's talking about drops. Because I already made the teasers and it was just like, there's 3 of them, right? A 2D one with the artwork, 3D one with hands, and then the final version includes those 2 plus live action hands. And it was just like all those things put together and then ending with like, something is coming, here's the shirt. Literally the reel I'm talking about, it said, hey, if you're gonna do a drop, stop doing the one teaser that says something is coming and then dropping it. Here's how to do it. And I was like, this is insane. I wanted to try something new, because if whatever I've been doing hasn't really been working already, that means it's like, why not try something new? And you know what? It really was marketing. Luckily, I saw that before I ended up posting the teasers, and I messaged Skairic immediately. I gotta admit, in the beginning, for the both of us, it was kind of hard to be like completely on board with it, because we were already like, yeah, here's the thing, we're gonna drop it. And if we had gone the route we originally were planning, I don't think this would have sold as well and as fast as it did compared to like the collab series and all these little like lore bits. And you know, speaking of how I changed drops because of that, like the month before the shirt drop, we were talking about like promotional videos and like what we need to post, what we're gonna work on individually.
This looks like some sort of biblical creature.
This is our entity. How dare you speak to him like that?
Oh my god, ominous freakiness?
We were talking about lore and like world building, because prior to that, I was like thinking about it, and like I always did want to have like this universe in Ghostn, and like I had all these ideas for like characters, and like, you know, they would be the vehicles to tell the story of what's happening and like what the significance of like each product. So I was like, you know what, I shouldn't retroactively make lore for all the drops, but then I should start right now with the drop coming up. And that's how we made like the whole Red Rift series, where the hands are essentially like these phenomena. They come from these red rifts, right, the name suggests, in places where there's like concentrated negative energy, but when people are isolated. And it's just taking ominous positivity and using that contrast again, because here you have like this horrific imagery, and what you would automatically assume is like, yeah, whoever is near that thing is probably getting grabbed and never heard from again. But it's the opposites. When they see the red rift, they see something that would comfort them and like something they've been wanting to see, help them get through their hard time. But in reality, they're being embraced by a bunch of interdimensional hands from an unknown entity. And we don't know if it's like a bunch of people's hands or just some giant creature with the ability to make hands. You know, it could be like a lot of things, but I want to keep that part a mystery. The important part was more like the aesthetic of it and also reinforcing the whole ominous positivity thing. So I think that was cool, and like now that just changed the way I want to do new drops. Like I want to have lore for pretty much anything like significant we're gonna drop. And if I can help it, probably everything we're gonna drop. And you know, talking about that is kind of a good segue over to the next topic, which is content. The content on Ghostn, if you've looked from like day 1 to now, it's changed a lot, but I do want to say that there's probably at least like one thread of consistency throughout all of them, keeping like the aesthetic or the theme of Ghostn, right? I refined the brand guide a bit a few months ago because it was getting a bit all over the place, because I was kind of just trying different things and seeing like what would work and what sticks. And at some point I was kind of like, you know what? I need a middle ground, because this part of me just wants to make this like cool fucking brand that people gravitate to with like a nice story. But then part of me also just didn't want to be like this faceless entity that people don't really have a reason to get behind or feel connected to. So it was like a rough balance. Then I realized like one of the main aesthetics that I use is like found footage, and that's like a really good way to bridge those two ideas together, where it's like this strong brand imagery but still have this like personable element to it, you know what I mean? Like I kept some of the stuff that I wanted in the roots, like Adult Swim aesthetic is huge and picking like that as an inspiration for our aesthetic, like one of them at least. It's really good because then it lets me do more than one thing, but also staying in like this lane, if that makes sense. Because you know, like Adult Swim, they've released some horror and some pretty good ones too if you haven't seen them. Too Many Cooks, I think, was one. That wasn't my favorite. My favorite was probably footage of a bear or something. I'm not gonna spoil any of that, but just go see it if you haven't. Those are fucking nice. Like those are great. They do that, and then of course they have their absurd comedy. Something about it just feels like intergalactic TV from like Rick and Morty or something, right? That's the kind of energy I want to get. It's like strange and a little bit out there, but still kind of familiar. I refined the brand guide basically just to keep things going that direction. One thing I do want to implement is also just like getting the community more involved, because if there's one thing that this collab has shown me is that there are definitely people out there that like would like Ghostn and stuff, but they just haven't like found Ghostn. And I'm really grateful for Skairic having like some overlap in her audience and like them coming over. I don't know, that stuff just means a lot. The whole supporting small business stuff, I'm always for it. Like if you're gonna steal, do it from a big corporation because they're already exploiting other people, but support your small businesses because like, you know, for you, it might just be a transaction or whatever. It really means the world when people stop by and pick like your small business to do something, you know what I mean? The last thing I wanna talk about in regards to like new content is there's gonna be 3 series that I wanna keep going for Ghostn's Instagram page. First one is social tips. So this is the first video for social tips.
Who the hell is that? How did they get in my room?
No, I'm good. And basically it's kind of just like, since Ghostn is like this clothing brand for introverts, and you know, it's all about authenticity and taking care of yourself, mental health, right? There's probably gonna be a lot of people that could use these tips, especially with the way today's society is and how technology is just so ingrained into it, especially like the social part of it. So this is for those people and just people like, I forgot the channel name, but it's this guy who's like Dad Teach Me or something like that. And he's just doing all this stuff, like tutorials on basically stuff that your dad would teach you, but this is like a channel for people who didn't grow up getting that. So I think it's cool, and that's kind of like what I envisioned for the social tips series. But you know, instead of being your dad, like I'm your friend, I guess. That series is more meant to be like your guiding friend instead of like a father figure. A lot of you on the internet do need that though. The next series I want to keep as a mainstay is the upcycling series for a couple reasons. One, I hate wasting. It's a win-win situation because like I get to make money off of it. I get to get better at sewing. I get to test the response to certain like products I do want to drop. And of course, the last win is that it's just content, right? It's free content. The third mainstay series I want to keep on was directly inspired from the collab, world building and drop journeys. So I want people to come with me as I design stuff and all that. And you know, talking about the new drop journey, it's a perfect segue to talking about new drops. I have 2 things right now that I'm working on for 2025's first drops. I'm working on a new zip up and also some custom carabiners. I'm very much still in the drafting phase for the zip up because there's like so many ideas that I have that I want to put on clothes. For me, it's like I can't just overload the jacket. Like I gotta pick the right elements. But yeah, that series is gonna be starting up soon, and I just want to say, like, quick update. Coverall upcycles are still in the works. It's just, you know, all the stuff with the collab drop, it kind of took time away from that. But that's still gonna continue. But first, I'm gonna prioritize the new drop. Once this is like in the phase where I'm waiting for the sample to come in or whatever, I'll probably have time to continue working on the coveralls and then, you know, progress on that. So I wanna end this video talking a little bit about the goals I had for this year and then the goals I'm gonna have for next year. I didn't have much expectations for this year, seeing as I'm still working like my survival job. Like there was no signs for me to be so optimistic about Ghostn, but I was just like keeping it going because the statistic of like most clothing brands not even really taking off till like after 5 years. And I just keep seeing more like evidence of that. Because there's a lot of brands I found this year that have been trending. I'm like, what the heck? This thing came out of nowhere. But that's just biased to my own like exposure. Then I look up the brands because, you know, some of them are really cool. One of the ones that I found this year that I thought was fucking new but was not was Helly Hansen. That brand stood out to me because the instant I saw it, the logo made me think of another logo. And you know, if you know what that is, comment below. But cool brand. And it was very reassuring to see that they've had history. So if they're just kind of blowing up like recently now, but they stuck around that long, it's like, shit, I can stick around too. One of my goals for 2024 was hitting 1,500 followers because we started the year with like 1,000 because I purged a lot of the bots and inactive accounts from Ghostn. So it was like, it went from 1,200 to 1,000, and then it slowly reached 1,500, which I'm really happy for. We reached that goal with, of course, a lot of thanks to Skairic. One thing that did surprise me about that is like a lot of bigger accounts, they would respond to the shirt, like the posts about it and stuff, and they liked it. And I was like, that is awesome. Like, it kind of reminds me of that thing Tyler the creator said in this one video where someone was asking about like creativity or a brand or something like that, and he was saying like, just keep making stuff and putting it out there, because you don't know who's watching. 3 goals I had this year. 1 was dropping the shoulder zip shirt. 2 was doing a collab finally. And then the 3rd one was just hitting 1,500 followers. So I'm gonna say this year was a win for us. I wanna end next year with like, the very least, I wanna hit 2,000 followers next year. And if we can go higher than that, that's fucking awesome. So 2,000 follower goal for next year. Completely selling out all of the frame of mind stuff. Dropping the zip up and the carabiner, that's one of them. So I want to drop something for fall winter, because like I haven't designed anything specifically made for winter, and I really want to, because you know, winter is like when you layer up and stuff, and that gives me a lot of room to experiment. To conclude, I just want to say thank you to everyone that's supported. I feel like I say that a lot, but I really don't feel like I say it enough, because yeah, I mean, when you guys choose to shop with Ghostn, it's crazy to me that people are just willing to pay for this thing that I thought up and made. Like, I really appreciate that. Like, seriously, it means a lot, and I can't really put it into words, so I just keep saying thank you. And the fact that we were able to like ship to multiple countries across the world this year, that was like icing on the cake. So thank you again. And you know what, let's make 2025 even better. Cut.